Hello, friends. We've had a shock to our system, and I see the effect in the Schumann Resonance. The effect is essentially global. How do we recover from this shock? What is going on? Today, I explain these concepts to you. What I'd like to do is look at how we have each been individually affected. This is a generalized discussion, but I think that many of you will find points of resonance with what I'm going to say. Because how I like to look at things, how I like to look at the world is that if I see something going on in the world, and I'm not okay with it, or it doesn't sit well with me, or I feel that something's going on or going wrong, I feel that if I make a healing inside myself, if I look at what inside myself is going on and heal that, there's an expansion of light, and that travels out into the world and gives the idea, the eureka. Okay, it puts it into the human consciousness. It spreads like a wildfire. And it's I guess it's a divine effect that this seems to usually happen with many of us at the same time, going through these awakenings, and then boom, our mutual light it's like sparkling lights going off across the field of human consciousness. So let's take a look at what's going on in the Schumann Resonance. I'm going to explain the meaning of the recent Schumann Resonance charts, number one. Then number two, I'm going to relate them to what's going on in the human surface population and how your energy field may be affected, and how to recover, how to restore yourself back to normal, back to your divine blueprint, back to a state of connectedness within with the divinity that you are. So as I've been researching, this came to me a few days ago, and I saw this picture of Mary, and I knew that I was going to use it in a video. And then suddenly I was doing some research, and this phrase from the Bible came to me. You have delivered me from the strife of my people. You have preserved me as the head of nations. And this is in 2 Samuel 22:44. And what's interesting is, for the few days before I found this quote from this Bible quote, I kept seeing the number 2222 over and over and over again. It was so obvious in my face. I thought, what is going on and what's the meaning? And when I found this quote, and it was from 2 Samuel 22, I knew. And of course, 22 doubled is 44, another a magical number, if you will. But so I believe what we are seeing in the Schumann has been what this is, the strife of my people, our strife as human beings that we're going through. We've just been through the American election. Let's face it, this election affects the world. And what is going on, right? Things, the result is much different than most people thought it would be. And what happened is, or that the illusion of what's happened, okay, is shocking. Maybe that's the better way to say it. So we've all experienced a shock to our system. Now, what do we do about that? Okay, let's get into it. Okay, here's today's chart. Okay, and what I want to first talk about is these aspects of the chart. See this? Where it looks like almost nothing is going on. The technological effect is still in play. It looks like there was maybe a short period of time here where, no, actually, it did. I thought it might have missed one of the lines. That might be on the page before this one. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about this here, okay, because I've got some really fascinating things to show you about what's going on behind the scenes. We're going to look at the frequency numbers, okay? I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to talk about what has been going on with this, because look at the chart before this one. Yeah. See this? Yeah, and this interesting figure here. So I want to explain this. Okay, so first let's look at these interesting puffs of, the white resonance in the chart. And so here's what I think is going on. Here is where we're being affected, okay? Here's where we're being affected. These are, it's really fascinating. The chart is very contracted right now. Now let me just bring this across and show you. Most of the activity in the chart right now is from 0 to about 8 hertz, or 7.83, the natural resonance of Earth. A little bit earlier today, it extended a little bit, and I'm going to show you this right now. Okay, so I want to show you what is going on here. Now, I haven't been talking about the numbers behind the chart the last few videos because I have been recovering from something and didn't have a lot of mental energy. But today, as I was looking at this, and the frequency numbers are the most important here, because the amplitudes are really not that much to write home about, except that the yellow is higher than the white, which is not usually what's happening. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, related to the frequencies. And then the qualities are also, the only thing that I'd point out is there's a little bit of a spike here in the red. Okay, so activity in the red. The green went up to its highs, but for the most part has been basically like hidden, below 10 for the most part recently. Okay, now what do I want to tell you in the frequencies? Check this out, okay? So here we have a bump up here between 12 and 14 of the white resonance, then between about 4 and 5, then about 14 to 15, okay? I'm going to skip this one because it's so tiny, but because we're going to, the message I want to get across to you we'll cover it with these three. Okay, so 12 to 14, 4 to 5, and 14, 15. Now let's go over here. 12 to 14, okay, 12 to 14, 4 to 5, 14, 15. That's right in here. Okay, now, just go back here. Does it go to 16? Yeah. A little bit, almost to 16, okay. All right, now, 4 to 5, where was I? Just checking everything. 4 to 5 is right here. 4 to 5. No, it's it. Okay, 12 to 14, 4 to 5, 14 to 16. I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, 12 to 14. All right, so now here's what I want to show you, okay? So these are the frequencies. The frequency, excuse me, sorry for the noise. I'm standing up because I'm really kind of getting energized. The frequencies, amplitudes, and qualities are components of the resonances. So it's kind of like if you have a dog and the dog has a coat that has, black, white, brown in it, okay? So the fur is sort of the description of the coat, right? It's all fur, but it's made up of the dog's coat is made up of different colors, okay? Well, so the resonances have different components to them. Now, the frequencies operate in these ranges. And what I have been mentioning is that the ranges have expanded quite a bit. That is why the colors on the charts have been bumping into each other, because we are having access to a broader range of frequencies, and therefore, in my view, our ability to live and express ourselves, okay, than we have had almost all the previous months of this year, 2020. And that's why you've got the red bumping into the green and the yellow bumping into the red and the white bumping into the yellow, because as a function of graphing this information, to get it all to fit on the chart, when the frequency ranges are expanded to their sort of almost maximums, okay? Because this actually sometimes goes down as low as into the high 23s. But in general, they're very expanded ranges right now. So that's an interesting point. And what it does is it gives us as human beings, in my view, a reach into a full range of expressions, okay, in terms of living our lives, our thoughts, our emotions, etc. Now, let's look at what happened when the white resonance peaked, okay, because what I feel that's doing is bringing awakened consciousness to our daily lives, right? Because the white resonance tends to have that celestial, that kind of God feel to it. This is anecdotal. Now, look what happened here. Let's just focus on the green. All right, so here's the range, 26.6 to 24.1, okay? So now at the first peak, 12 to 14, you had the green resonance here. Now, 4 to 5, you had the green resonance, that's in the middle of the range. Here you had it all the way, now it's all the way at the bottom of the range. Now we go to 14, 16, and the green resonance spikes up above the middle of the range. Okay, and then later on goes to the high end of the range. So what I'm saying is we're having an awakening, okay, across our frequency range of expression, because the green to me represents the human the most, okay? Now these of course are components, we're exposed to these in our lives, white, yellow, red, and I've described how I feel in other videos about them. I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. Okay, but look, so you've got middle of the range, low end of the range, high to, mid to high end of the range, okay? Mid to above the middle. And that coincides with sort of eureka moment, right? We're having awakening, we're having awareness, information is coming in and we're processing it. Now here, it was mostly in the, so the awakening brain waves start about like 8 to 12, 13, 14. That's alpha. Okay, so here it was just sort of within us at more of a subconscious, unconscious, intuitive level. Now we start to break out into the alpha waves here, okay? So the awakening starts to come into our daily life, okay? Our waking life, our actual thoughts, and we're getting at whatever we're getting. Now look at this. Look at the same, here's 12 to 14. Okay, look at the red. Right here, okay, it's right about 50, what is that? 19.58. Okay, now let's go to 4 to 5. Where is it? About 19.58. Let's go here. Where is it? It's up and down around 19.58. Okay, it goes a little bit down, but then it comes right back up to 19.58. There's not much of an awakening going on in the red frequency. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty much staying in place while we're having these bursts of white resonance, okay, these bursts of awakening. The red is fairly static during those moments. Does it move up and down on the chart? Yes, but not when our human selves, the shadow side, okay, the red, the shadow side is maintaining a certain level of information, basically, in our systems, okay, as people. Okay, now let's look at the yellow. Okay, about 13.8 right there. 4 to 5. Where are we? About 13.8. Okay, going up a little bit, but pinging at 13.8. Okay, now let's go to 12 to 14. Where are we? 13.8. Not much room, not much movement. Pretty wild, right? So the yellow, which is another, in my view, the yellow does tend to represent aspects of our shadow side. Okay, these represent aspects of the astral, to me, yellow and red. Okay, not much movement here. Okay, does it move around more in the range? Yes, but when the white resonance is amplified, no. So in our human consciousness, this frequency range, as we awaken or as we have these strokes of, oh my gosh, this is happening, come to us, the red and the yellow are sort of maintaining. Okay, they're maintaining. So the thoughts around that are expressed at these frequencies are not changing, but the green are. Okay, now look at the white. Here we are. Okay, bottom is 7.46. Then we go to 4 to 5. Okay, now it's above, and then again, bottom's around 7.46, and then 14 to 16. Where's yeah, 14.6. Okay, a little slightly above, but basically also staying the same. So what's happening here? Isn't this fascinating? When we are having these little strokes of, oh, wait, is this happening? Is some, as we're perceiving what's going on in the outer world, okay, at first it was inside us. Now it's starting to come to the surface in our thoughts, go out into the alpha waves, okay? And we're having this range of thoughts. Our human selves, we're expanding our thinking, okay? Because we're having access to a much broader frequency range than yellow, red, or even white. Isn't that fascinating? So we're starting to put pieces of a puzzle together. However, those human beings who are more aligned with the shadow projection, okay, with the chaos element of life, or who are very outside themselves, not connected within the divine, their thoughts are pretty stuck in the same small range. Do you see that? Now, the white tends to support human beings. Okay, so it's staying about the same, frequency, tight frequency range, but it's supportive of us. Here we are having an awakening that's moving across the range of possibilities of our thinking, like our ability to expand and really get and understand things. My friends, this is good news, even though it doesn't look like much on the chart. Okay, now I'm going to quickly move on because I took a while to explain that. Now, this is what I want to explain about this part of the chart here. This is why I said that there's a shock to our system. Look what's happening. At 7.83 and lower, nothing. And not really nothing, but yeah, there's not a lot of activity. It's like we've been shocked. Our intuition isn't functioning. Our subconscious, okay, we're not connected. The opportunity for connection is there, okay, because we have this gorgeous purple in the background, but look how it's more muted. Okay, there's been times on the chart recently where it's been much brighter. Okay, it's there. It's waiting for us to connect, but it's a little bit almost in a denser level. We can't access it as well. It's not as bright. It's not full of the jewel colors. Okay, and then we've got this line at 7.83. That makes sense. It's the natural frequency of the earth, and the earth supports us. We're made out of the earth. Our bodies are made out of the earth, okay? So it makes sense that this line is the most prominent, even when we're shocked. And look, nothing, okay? And is it not nothing? It's not totally nothing, okay? Because we have a little bit of the green activity, and we have these lines coming down, but we are shocked. It's like it's like a deer in the headlights, caught in the headlights, and the deer doesn't move. It can't move backwards. It can't move forwards. It's just like, oh my God, what is going on? There's a car coming, or what is that big, huge roaring thing headed towards me, right? And so as human beings, this is kind of where we're at. We're like frozen in this shock. Now, around the edges, we're seeing activity, and some of us are acting in all the different ways that you might do that. I'm making inspiring videos, Some people are doing all sorts of research, okay? Some people are analyzing voter rolls. Some people are, doing their everyday work that they do to bring home, a paycheck for their families, whatever it happens to be that you're doing. Now, what happens here? I call this was Saturday, barbarians at the gate. Okay, so there's a shock to the system. What happens? When you have a shock to the system, look, it's like you're a computer with a hard disk. You know, like when you first get your computer and there's nothing on it and you're like, oh my God, I could load all these movies on it. I could load all these pictures. I have all these space for videos. You know, you have a hard drive, assuming you're not using the cloud. But even if you use the cloud, you know, if you get, I don't know, a terabyte of available data, or 200 gigabytes of available data versus a terabyte, you have all this space to put something, right? So the space here is empty, right? Because we're shocked. It's like our brainwaves aren't really functioning. And what that means is they could be loaded up with programming, like how you would put files into a computer that had a lot of empty space, right? Because we're not connecting right now. We're emotionally, mentally, spiritually even in a shock state. So what happens? The barbarian shows up at the gate. And that is the prominent yellow and red of the shadow element, the chaos element, the dark force. That is really an integral part of humanity, okay, of the human system at this point in time. So let's take a look. All right, now I adjusted the light on this image so that we could see more of what was going on here. Now you see here I called this the barbarians at the gate. The thing is that, okay, what did I do? I reversed this chart. Okay. I just have to laugh at myself. Okay, it looks like I know there was something I was trying to say here. Hold on, let me get back to... Yeah, okay. All right, now, the barbarian is at the gate. What did I want to say? In Matthew, okay, and I'm not going to quote this exactly right because I haven't looked it up for this video, but in Matthew in the Bible, he talks about that, I believe it's Jesus talking about that it's a narrow gate to get into heaven. It's not a wide gate. The wide gate allows everyone, all these people through. It's easy to get through the wide gate, and that path leads to difficulty and disaster. The narrow gate is what is the path that the path to God, the path that connects us with the divine. Well, the barbarians can't get through the narrow gate, okay, because their frequency range doesn't match it. Okay, what I want to say here is something that maybe is going to sound strange. It looks like this energy has come through the narrow gate, okay? And that is an illusion. Why? Because these two bars of the white and mostly green resonance at the bottom here that go to 40 hertz, these are higher dimensional expressions. An energy that is in chaos can't get through this type of field. It would disintegrate. Okay, it's not compatible. In addition, this energy does not move to the right, okay? It moves to the left. The shadow element moves in motion to the left in this chart. So you think that it's come through the gate, right, to the right, but that is not how this energy moves. So this is an illusion that it came through the gate, an illusion that we're where we're supposed to be if we want to align with what is right and true. It's an illusion. In reality, this gate is forward in the chart, and this image is back in time. Okay, they don't cross. They don't cross. It can't go through the this passageway. It would disintegrate. As I look at it, it almost looks like a forlorn character, doesn't it? If I was to look at this and see it as a human being pointed forward, the face doesn't look human. It looks more almost like it has an animal type of a face. But here would be the heart, and here would be the second chakra, right? And here's the head. So you have a lot of damage at the heart, a lot of damage at the second chakra. And you have this black dot in the brain just below the pineal. Maybe that would be right about there. So this is, it's not a pretty image that's being projected. It's an image that steals our heart energy and steals our creative force. Okay? And that the stealing of the creative force is at 7.83, the frequency of the earth. So here's what I have to say. Don't let them do that to you. You have the ability to make free will choices. This is what's being projected on the screen of human consciousness. You don't have to agree. Okay? And the fact is that the fact that our awakening process, okay, so first it started mostly in the subconscious, unconscious, and intuitive levels, okay, yesterday. And these pings here, to me, these are the divine elements, okay? They keep pinging in, okay, that the ones that go to 40 hertz. I've got you. I'm here. All of time on the chart right now is slowed down. If you remember, on other charts, we see these, like sometimes several of them all very close together within a few hours. Now that's expanded, okay? So whereas the ping might have been that high frequency sort of divine connection, it might have been like within 2 hours. Now it's 21 hours. Time is expanded. What does that mean? Humanity got knocked down dimensionally. We were rising up, okay, interdimensionally. We were rising to a more expanded dimensional state. We got knocked on our ass. Now, what can we do about that? And this, by the way, okay, and now we're starting to get some awareness. This, by the way, if I go back to this, you have delivered me from the strife of my people. This is the strife. We got knocked on our butts. We're disconnected. We're in a prime state for those with the method and means to try to stamp us with their version of what reality is. And it's an illusion. It's not true. Okay, so what do we do about this? Let me show you. In my seminar, and you might want to go back and check it out if you haven't seen it, and if the next part of the video resonates with you, I think you'll really like the seminar. Okay, here's how we recover, my friends. Now, I used this sun and the beams within a circle to illustrate the idea that there's a human body here. This is our heart connection, and there's a physical form, okay? And this is our energy field. And I'm concentrating on the energy, so I didn't draw a person in there, okay? Now, in my seminar, I explained how the energy field can get filled up with experiences and this and that. And sometimes we need to clear the field to get reconnected with our center and get re-centered, and then expand that energy back out through the field to feel whole and connected again. Now, what has happened here? When there's a shock to the system, boom, we've gotten knocked down a dimension. So rather than having the light-filled field now, it's like that light within us has moved. It's not that it's moved away. It's like it's moved deeper within us. It feels like it's further away. And you know what I mean? If when those times where you feel disconnected from God, disconnected from your soul, disconnected in general, funky, out of sorts, there's a depression in the field. That's why I made the energy dark, black here, dark. And so we've been knocked down a dimensional state. This was our true state, okay? We've been going along, we've been awakening, we've been connecting, we've been improving ourselves, whatever it happens to be, and then bam, we get a literal global shock to the system. Boom. We get knocked down. Now we feel smaller. We feel less effective. We feel less able to make an influence on our world. And from this state, it's kind of like we're wondering, what is going on? What is going on? Right? Okay. So this is actually, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, I got rid of it. Okay. Here, I'll put it up. This is the image that, here, all this stuff has like been thrown at my heart and is knocked on the side, right? And I'm flailing. My energy is flailing like, I feel off center. Like, how can I get centered again? That's, it's not an attractive image, but it's an image of what's happening. Okay. All right. Now here we are. Here we are. Now I'm going to show you how to restore yourself, and you can also share this information with others. And please share this video if it resonates with you and helps you. And I'm going to put below the ability. I'm going to show where this part of the video is. So I'll do links to like minutes in the video if you want to be able to refer to just this part. Okay, now, when we're in this state, we've had a global shock, right? Everybody thought the election was going to go a certain way. And there was all this joy and all this momentum, and it didn't happen. And not only that, but there was this incredible shock and suspicious activity. So then what happens is it feels like not only has your light gotten smaller, or you feel disconnected, it feels like, how do you get there? Like, see, now there's a barrier around it. How do I get back connected, right? How do I get back to that state? And you're flailing around in this. Maybe you feel angry. Maybe you feel sad. Maybe you feel, disconnected. The focus of our attention, okay, because we can't connect here, now our focus begins up kind of floating around in the field. Okay, we're floating around out here. We can't really boom. It's like a pinball. We can't get back in there. And when we're floating around in the field like this, it feels lonely. It doesn't feel good. It feels disempowered. How do we get back? When we look to our connected state, okay, when we look back to that feeling of solidity and confidence within, it looks like we're looking through a long tunnel. It's somewhere out there in the distance. It's somewhere deep within me, or it's gone, or I can't even see it. Here's my viewpoint, okay? I'm here and I'm like, oh man, how do I get back? The focus of my attention is here now. Now, this is the key, okay? The focus of my attention when I've had a shock is here, okay? I'm living outside my center. I'm in my energy field where there's not a lot of activity flowing. It's like flat. It's like this, or even this. Okay, or this, or this. And it especially doesn't feel comfortable because we sense the barbarians at the gate. We sense, okay, that there's a wolf stalking us. We sense that, and what we're sensing is that in the absence of sort of this electrical activity, electromagnetic activity in the human field, there's a presence that wants to pop programming in, okay? that wants to pop programming in. And this is what I have to say. Don't let them do that to you. Okay, now if we can understand this, we can fix it, right? What do I do when my attention is here and I don't know how to get back? I'm going to show you. Here's the solution. You have to take your attention and put it back here. Okay, and notice how I cross through the barrier when I do that. Now, we just talked about how it was hard to get here. I'm going to move this a little bit so that you can see the sun in the circle. We just talked about how it's hard to get in here, how there's a wall. So, Susan, what are you talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. The way that you get back in is you know that it's possible. You know that this is available to you. You understand mentally that it can be done and that it will happen as you choose it. I choose to put my focus of attention back at my divine connection. Now, here's a good exercise for this, okay? You take your hand and put it over your heart. The hand has a chakra in it. So the chakra in your hand over the chakra of your heart. Put that there together and breathe. And now as I do this, my hand's actually cold. My hand's not usually cold like this. But as I breathe, my hand's getting warmer and I can feel the warmth in my body. Now, even if I can't feel the divine connection, I know that warmth feels like love. Love for me. The love of my body for myself. Okay? I mentally know it's possible for me to reconnect. I ask God, I ask my guardian angels, I ask my higher self to open up that connection back for me. And I breathe. Now, I've gotten to the point where once I've realized that I am disconnected, basically here's what I do. I check in and I go, am I still connected with my soul energy? And I get no. Now, am I still fully embodying it? Now, of course, I'm embodying it to some level, right? I'm embodying it at a surface level, like just the bare minimum needed to keep me alive, okay? That's what it's felt like in certain days after the election. But when I talk to my soul, I talk to my higher self, I pray to God, and I ask to be fully reconnected again. And then I breathe into my center. And now at first I might have shallow breaths because my body's contracted too. But as I intend that I know I deserve this connection, I am a child of the Creator, my body is the temple of my soul, this is where my living soul belongs. It belongs, and my soul, as an aspect of the divine, has a right to claim its container, which is me, its vessel on this earth, which is me. The divine, I allow my divinity to claim me, okay, at source level, the highest level light. Right? The soul that I am incarnate claims back my vessel. I claim back my vessel. This speaking voice to you is the soul incarnate coming through this living body, as is your voice through you. And as I do this, as I intend this, the wall starts to melt. As I intend this, the light starts to expand. Okay, and it may, Now, here's been my focus of attention. What did I do? I brought that focus of attention back within. Okay, so you don't get back by, you don't get back, and I'm going to move this arrow so that we can, so you don't get back by focusing here and saying, oh, how do I get back there? Okay. You don't get back by saying, wait, if I could only just go through this tunnel linearly, okay, in a line to get back to the center of who I am. No. That's not it. Why? Because this is a higher dimensional state. It's non-linear. You don't need to walk a linear path to get there. Boom! A thought in a moment is how you return home. Just like at the end of The Wizard of Oz, what did her friends say to Dorothy? Just say you want to be home. Okay? Now I'm going to cancel clear the energy of that movie because there's all sorts of weird programming in that movie. But because they were trying to program people, they also had to combine it with some truth, or would not have sat with human beings. Okay, so let me just cancel clear the energy of that, invoke the sacred flame over this discussion, and bam. How you get back to the center. Okay, let me do this here. Okay, now let me show you something. Let me show you a secret. The light that you are is always there, right? This was a false state that was imposed on us through this artificial shock, okay? The artificial shock is covering up something that's already there. The forces of darkness cannot take away your connection with God. They have no right and no authority. Okay? So if you were able to simply remove, to not agree with the illusion that they wish us to agree with, then if you reject the illusion, you return to this centered state. Okay? So the way that I drew it was like this. And my fan just went on in the computer, so it might be a little noisy in the background now. Where are we here? Okay, so now, okay, so remember I said to put your focus back here. This is like human teleporting, okay? It's like, you know how on Star Trek they just push the transporter and you don't have to walk in a straight line from New York to Paris. You just push the transporter and you're now in New York and then you're now in Paris. It's the same thing, okay? When I intend it, now I'm here. Now that I have the awareness, I know what's going on. I'm out here at the edge of my energy field, okay? I'm here. Now I intend I'm going to be in the center, and I know that it's possible for me to be reconnected. I focus my intention on my God connection within the heart, my soul connection within the heart, or you put your prayers to God within the center of your heart, okay? You call on Jesus, you call on Mary, you call on your spiritual guides of the highest light, whatever, religion or you happen to practice, that's in alignment with the highest light and in alignment with life, right? The highest source level consciousness. So you put your attention back here. Now here's the thing. Okay? Oh, what do I got here? Jeez, I put a lot of little circles in there when I was mentioning. The idea that we're disconnected with God is false because we were born with that connection. Okay? Through the circumstances of our life, that connection can become obscured. But when we have a dramatic shock to the system, like we have right now, okay, some of us can't even perceive that little tiny dot. Okay? The fact is, that's what I'm trying to tell you. When I put this here, okay, when I made the graph like this, okay, to show you that you can choose to reconnect here, what I want to show you is that you're not reestablishing a new connection. You're establishing a connection with the light that you already are. And this is how you restore yourself. This is how you restore your faith. This is how you restore your sovereignty energetically within your energy field as a child of the Creator and a connected soul living in a human body. This is how you redeem yourself to God, right? Living in the human body. And then you allow this to slowly expand out through your energy field. And when you keep the focus in here, the news can tell me that the sky has turned green, or that the sky is now a checkered white and red pattern. And I know what my truth is. My truth is this here. I allow myself to know my truth and be guided in the center of who I am by God, by my soul, by the light that I am, and I live that. I restore myself. And in doing so, I preserve my relationship with the divine. I preserve myself, as it says in Samuel, right? In Samuel, there's the story of, the king, Samuel, and he's dying, and his sons are not appropriate. They're not up for the job of being king. So his advisors come to him and say, who are we going to make the king? And the people are saying, who will be the king now? So Samuel prays and talks to the Lord, and the Lord says, as God, I'm God, and I am the king of the people. God is the king, okay? The male aspect of God is the king, and the female aspect of God is the queen, okay? And then, of course, they go talk to the people, and the people go, no, we want an outer God, okay? We want an outer king. So, when you choose to reconnect with your soul, okay, when you say no to the illusion and aims of whatever the darkness is in your life or whatever that represents for you, and you reconnect by your own choice with the living light that you are in the human body. You don't have to leave the body to do this. The light and soul shines through as your life force in the human form. Okay? When you do that, you preserve your relationship with God. You restore it. You preserve it. And you put the inner king or the inner queen as your authority, meaning the divine connection. Your divinity is your authority from within. You have a personal relationship going back and forth, right? Through your intuition, through your spiritual guidance, through prayer, with that relationship within you with God. Okay, so you complete the request of God in Samuel to make him the head of your life, to make him the God, the king, or the female aspect, the queen of your life. And when you do that, okay, you are the head. You are in command. You have dominion over your life, your body, through God, okay? Through your restored connection with the divine. And when you do that, you preserve. You preserve the divine as the living force in your life. And what happens in energy within is expressed in the world without. And if you wish to see the true leader of the people restored, okay, because we do have a third dimensional and fourth dimensional system here, where we're living in the human body, we're living in a society, we have a governmental system, we've all, in good faith, okay, the majority of us in good faith have participated in that system. And now I'm talking about the United States of America and the elections. In good faith, we've participated in the system, and the system is showing failure. It's showing illusion. It's showing the barbarians at the gate attempting to control it for their own aims. And if you wish the restoration of truth in the system, and if you wish the elected individual, truly elected by the people, to be restored as the leader in alignment with God's will through each of us as voters, okay? Preserve your relationship with the divine. Restore your relationship. Say no to the illusion that you're presented with, because if you do not consent to it, that illusion is not allowed to have control over your life, because you are a living child of the divine and you are subject to God's authority, and you are able to invoke that in your life. Thus, you deliver yourself from strife, okay, in co-creation with God. Because that's what it takes. It takes that one-to-one relationship with God to do this, a one-to-one relationship with the divine as you express, feel, and live that in your life. You restore yourself and your relationship with God as primary in your life. And in doing so, God preserves. You have preserved me as the head of nations. God preserves the person that we've all elected in good faith as the head of nations. Now, if we go back to the story in Samuel, okay, at the beginning where God asked Samuel, the king, to cause the people to choose a leader. When we by our own free will choice, invoke freedom, okay, our freedom to choose the relationship with God or not, and then live that, then our actions out in the world reflect this. So choosing someone to represent us in a form of government in the living three-dimensional, world of physicality, if we do that without a divine connection, it's a different result than if we do that with a divine connection restored. And in my view, that's what it means when God says, choose me as your king. When I choose the light within as my living guide for what to do moment to moment in my life to the best of my ability, okay, including living in, the structures of society, but I claim my divine authority as the law first. Then I go about my business, and from within that state, I vote or I participate. It's a lot different result than if I'm disconnected and subject to the influences of the world and willy-nilly, I'll go vote today and I'll go do it this way and that way, without a living connection with values, morals, responsibilities. The outcome falls flat, okay? Because then I've chosen an outer king. I've chosen the world to be my guide. I've chosen the news. I've chosen, those who would purvey illusion or maybe truth. Maybe they're purveying truth also, but peppered with illusion, peppered with programming that serves the aims of whatever that force is, the forces of darkness. So, how do you participate in the most impactful way beyond the work you do every day in the living physical world? In my view, it's by restoring your connection within with God's light. Restore that connection within. And you restore. You help restore. In co-creation with God, in co-creation with the divine, you help restore the head of nations.